What's up guys, Doug Polk here and welcome back to Poker Hands. And today we're going to be taking a look at a big pot that happened on PokerStars Big Game. This hand is interesting because it involves a large pot with a very recreational player and of course one of our favorite poker players to watch, David Williams. So on that note, let's go ahead and jump into the action.
Queen several times. Oh boy, okay, that should go one person to your left, Daniel. Daniel raises to 1,500, Doyle folds. And pocket kings for David Williams, but he just calls.
David's playing it a little slow.
The loose cannon calls.
Everybody likes it.
We have some action.
Abe's in. So's Jason Calacanis.
Our hand begins at $200, $400 blinds playing six-handed, and Daniel Negreanu opens it up under the gun with pocket queens. Doyle Brunson gets out of the way, and now the action's over on David Williams, who looks down at pocket kings. And this comes back to the classic rule on the channel. When you have good hands, you should mainly be raising, and so David Williams does decide to make the call. Alright, so I'm joking a little bit here, but really, when you have strong hands pre-flop, you want to avoid slow playing them very often. The reason is simple. If lots of players call, well, now you have not managed to extract value in a street where you can certainly be getting a lot of value from your opponents because people tend to play too loose versus raises, or even if they play correctly, you're going to build a pot with a strong hand. By just calling, there are now many people involved in the action. You're less likely to be able to win the hand overall, and of course the pot will be smaller. So you want to try to avoid these types of moves. Now, if you're at a table where there's a lot of 3-betting going on, maybe you could once in a while work in a trap, and there is some nuance in some certain situations like out of the small blind. But at the end of the day, if you did not ever trap pocket kings facing a raise, it wouldn't be that much of a mistake, if it is one at all. Anyway, now the action's on the button, the loose cannon who looks down at 10-4 suited. And this is interesting because you'd think if you're in a spot playing high stakes, playing for a lot of money, you're trying to go home with something in your pocket, well, in Davis's shoes, you'd probably play a little bit snug. It's not the case here. I think if you're going to play too loose, it's usually better to be doing it by raising, so you give yourself a better chance to win the pot, knock people out, and balance out your range so when you do have good hands, you can get some value. I think at the end of the day, though, 10-4 suited on the button is simply just a fold. Now in the small blind, Abe Mosseri looks down at 10-7 suited. This is certainly a fold in most games. There could be an element of he thinks the button could be doing some crazy stuff and he wants to get in there, but your position is going to be very bad post-flop. You're going to be first to act, so I really think that Abe should get out of the way here. Anyway, he does decide to call, which is basically what everyone has done every street here despite no one having to do it, and now the action's on Jason Calacanis. Jason also decides to call, which is good. Let's take a flop.
King Jack Trey, a monster flop.
Ooh la la gaga, David Williams has flopped a set. Will Davis has flopped a flush.
But action starts with Abe, who checks.
Everyone take a look, see if they have a spade in their hand.
Daniel does. Jason bets 4,000.
Leading out and drawing dead.
You knew anyways, you just faked it.
No, I didn't know.
Daniel calls.
You'd expect David to raise here, try to thin the field. He's playing against 4 other opponents right now.
Every move you make is with a purpose.
David just calls.
It's a risky call.
All in.
And the loose cannon's all in.
Cannon time.
Loose cannon's moved in to try to protect his flush.
Take it down.
Abe and Jason are out.
Oh boy. Gamble, gamble.
You don't have much money.
26.
Count what you got. Let's have a count of the loose cannon one time.
Boy, here you go.
This could be this could be that time here.
The 4. Yes, right.
Well, I assume he's running it one time. David's only got
26 and 100.
So if you have the nuts, I don't care.
Sorry.
David's very short. Daniel's trying to figure out what's in the side pot and what's in the main pot.
I win one of what's in the pot. It puts me, I think, just above.
Yeah. It's true.
What about this 100?
Gotta protect the chips, right? And the cards.
Oh, this is fun. I like this. This is fun.
If it weren't for the fact that the loose cannon might be making a move, this could be an easy fold for Daniel. He's behind to even 1 king. He could easily not have the best hand, and it's possible he doesn't even have the best draw. You can see he's a dog right now.
So we've got 69, 79.
Daniel's doing some calculations now. He's actually not getting very good odds, only about 1.25 to 1.
I mean, you're supposed to gamble sooner or later.
Daniel calls.
Pair the board, I'll call.
David's in 2.
Got a flush.
Oh, no!
The flop comes King Jack 3 with 3 spades. And man, that's a really interesting flop. I wish I could learn more about how to play flops like that, and you can over at upswingpoker.com. If you're brand spanking new to poker or a very casual player, we have a $7 course so you can understand the actual basics on how to be a good poker player and understand the way that ranges act together. It's called the Postflop game plan, and if you're interested in checking it out, I'll put a link in the description below. Anyway, we've got quite a flop here. We've got 5 players involved. We have Davis in the lead having flopped a flush, but we have Williams with a very slow played pocket kings coming in for top set, as well as Negreanu with the second nut flush draw. So plenty of people have a decent piece of the board. Abe checks, and now Calacanis decides to take a stab 5-way with no equity out of position for $4,000. Don't like this. Typically speaking, the more people there are in a pot, the less you should be willing to bluff. And when you do bluff, you should have some substantial equity. You know, if we think about it like this, he's risking $4,000 here to win $8,000. This needs to work something around 1 out of 3 times to be profitable for him. And what's the chance that none of these other players have hands that can continue? I mean, we've got 3 people here who have very strong hands. It just takes 1 for this bet not to work. There's no way this bet's going to be making money. Now to Negreanu, this is an interesting spot. I think with queens, though, you have a fairly clear-cut call. If you raise, this pot gets too big for the strength of your hand. Even though your hand is quite good on a spade, you're going to win unless someone has the ace of spades. Additionally, you do have essentially some kind of second pair. So you have a fairly strong hand, but you want to be pot controlling this even if your opponent is bluffing. Over to Williams with top set. I actually think I wouldn't mind a raise here some of the time. It's going to give you an unlikely boat on some different runouts. Additionally, if people have 1 spade hands, you're going to charge them for their chance to try and hit that flush. And it rounds out your range so you don't just have flushes or flush draws when you raise the flop. However, I don't hate the idea of a call, because when you have top set here, it's now less likely, substantially less likely, your opponent has a hand like top pair that can call a bet or a raise. It's more likely players have either draws to a flush or a flush themselves. So I can see both options having some merit, and when you're 5-way on the flop, I could definitely see call being a more likely option for you to take. Williams does decide to call, and this is where the loose cannon gets a little bit cannony. So Davis decides to move all in here for roughly $80,000. This is a massive bet. Anyone that chooses to call this will be getting terrible odds. But the reason is simple. Davis doesn't want to get outplayed on later streets. He's pretty sure he's got the best of it right now, having the 3rd nuts. He doesn't want players to hit boats or flushes or whatever might happen to him. So he's just making his move to try and win what's in the middle. If you're going to play like this, you really should be trying to play lower stakes. And I know that Davis has been free-rolled in the situation, so he's forced to play these huge pots. But if you're going to be playing this poorly post-flop, you should be playing pretty tight pre-flop to avoid these kinds of situations as much as possible and allow yourself to have the ability to be betting and getting value with strong holdings. When you're just going to jam on one of the best possible flops for you, I mean, you're going to flop a flush here roughly 1% of the time. Well, how are you going to be making money in the other situations? And you're not even allowing yourself a chance to win the most money here. After this jam, Abe and Jason get out of the way, and now the action's over to Daniel Negreanu with his pocket queens. And this is a bit of an interesting spot for Negreanu. Your odds you're getting to call here are quite poor. You are called a $4,000 bet, and now you're facing an $80,000 bet. So this is a very, very, very large raise. Now, what kinds of hands might your opponent make this move with? Maybe they'd make a move with a hand like the ace of spades. Well, against just the ace of spades, you're a pretty good sized favorite. You block one of the spades that can have you beat, and even though an ace beats you as well as any spade, you're still going to be something in the vicinity of 60% to win the hand. However, that's really the only great scenario. If you're up against a hand like, let's say, top 2 pair or a set, you can still win. If you hit a queen, you're going to win unless it's top set. And then additionally, any spade will win for you. But in that situation, you are getting your money in behind while calling a huge bet. So it's unlikely that that's going to be a profitable decision. Now, you also have the threat that the loose cannon simply just has a flush, and in that scenario, you're in bad shape. You need one of the remaining spades in the deck to come out, but 2 are blocked because he has 2 spades. Nothing else is going to help you. So this is not a very attractive situation overall to be calling. If you had a hand like, let's just say, a set, maybe you'd feel a little bit better about your situation because now if your opponent has 2 pair or set themselves, you're ahead of them. But all in all, I think this is a spot where you're going to have to make a fairly disciplined laydown. There are 5 people on this flop. Many people can have flushes. This hand is just simply not good enough to be calling a jam. Negreanu does end up making the call, and David Williams is a little bit shorter stacked behind, so it wasn't a huge impact for the way that the other 2 stacks should be playing. But now I think Williams has a very clear call. Even if he knows somebody has a flush, he's basically getting the odds to call this all in, because if he hits a boat, he's going to win the pot. So we've got 3 players all in for a huge pot here. Will the loose cannon's flush hold up, or is Daniel Negreanu going to find a way to take this one down?
Yeah, we would have busted me anyway. Okay, I got a big side pot working. So let's just have a spade.
Just pair the board.
Just do one time, right?
I would like to do more than one, but actually screw that, one time.
What the heck? He flopped the flush.
Well, that's what I was looking for, right? You know?
David has less money than Daniel and Will, so he can only win the main pot. Daniel and Will can win both pots.
Funny. You were waiting for him to raise, huh, before the flop?
What do I got, about 40% equity?
Who knows? You know. You're the one that knows that.
Doyle knows this.
I don't have that many else. Ace.
Let's leave it in front like that. Let's decide how many times you're going to do it.
I think it could come 9-10.
I'm just going once.
Yeah, once is good.
Once is fine.
One time. Gamble for the money. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. With a spade.
So it has all come down to this for Will Davis. Will his hand hold up?
Here's the diamonds. Anybody fold spade?
If Will can fade a spade, he's still in the game. If he can also avoid the board pairing, he'll have a profit of nearly $100,000.
The turn?
Spade is key. Just any spade.
Put that river down nice so I can see it.
That's a spade.
Good hand.
Will's out.
That's why I won that pot, for sure. Go ahead, pair the board. What the hell?
All right, he wants to pair it, so just pair it.
David Williams still alive. Looking for the board to pair on the river. It doesn't.
Scooped it. Wow.
Nice
Sick hand,
nice
buddy.
hand.
Sick hand.
Good try, Davis. Next time, maybe you'll learn to play with the big boys by winning your all-in better or something. I don't know. Thanks for joining me here today for Poker Hands, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Peace.